Well, happy Monday to you, church. It's good to be with you. Say hi to Josiah. And we've had a pretty good start to the week this week. So we want to tell you about a man named William Cowper. And William was born in England in the 1700s, and he was one of 4 kids at the time he was born. His dad was a clergyman. He was a pastor. And he actually had quite a few. We'll see how this goes. Maybe we'll get a reappearance here from Josiah. But he actually had quite a few traumatic events in his life before he was 6 years old. And one of them was his 3 siblings that were born before him actually died. They passed away. And by the time he was 6 years old, his mom was giving birth to what would have then been their 5th child, and she actually died during childbirth. And so with those very traumatic events in his life at a very young age, he suffered from depression and anxiety from that very young age. And so he then went to a boarding school up until he was 10 years old. And he didn't have a very good experience there. It actually, with a lot of relationships that he had in that school were not good ones, and it actually increased his depression and his anxiety. And so when he was 10 years old, he switched schools, and it was a much better experience to the point where he actually found a passion for reading. He found a passion for writing. So he actually started writing poetry, and that was his passion. So then, by the time he was 18 years old, his dad actually really wanted him to be a lawyer. And that obviously wasn't really where his heart was. And when he went to take the bar exams, when he was going to take them, he actually had runaway anxiety, they called it, and he ran away. He ended up not taking the test. And so because of that, and because of all the shame that he had, and it was more also a fear of what everyone would think of him and a fear of what his dad would think of him, he actually attempted to kill himself, and he did not succeed. Yeah, that was good, right? And his friends found him, and they actually kind of had to come to Jesus with him and suggested that he go to a place with a very specific doctor in mind who was a Christian. And that doctor helped William out immensely to the point where he kind of saw the value of life again. He found his passion for literature and for poetry and for writing. But more importantly, he had his faith renewed. He had his faith renewed in the sense that, he knew that God had not abandoned him in all his struggles in life, that God had not forgotten about him with all the things that he had experienced in his life. And so he then became a hymnist. He actually wrote a lot of hymns, and one of them is called "There Is a Fountain." And that actually, whether you know it or not, it's a beautiful, beautiful hymn. And we actually sang a song on Sunday called "All My Fountains," and the two are kind of intertwined together. So the 4th verse of William's hymn goes like this: "Ere since by faith I saw the stream, thy flowing wounds supply. Redeeming love has been my theme, and shall be until I die. Shall be until I die, and shall be until I die. Redeeming love has been thy theme, and shall be until I die." And the song that we sang yesterday was "Open up the heavens, come living water, all my fountains are in you, because you're strong like a river, your love carries me through, all my fountains are found in you." And that word fountain is a little weird, right? You kind of think of a fountain, at least I do, like a water fountain, right? Or a fountain in a park that just shoots water up and down. It's more for decoration than anything. But we have examples all throughout the Bible of a fountain being used as living water, right? There's a fountain that flows from the throne of God that supplies living water. And Jesus uses this example, obviously, with the woman at the well. And so that's the idea behind it and the beauty behind it. And William's inspiration behind that hymn that he wrote actually comes from Psalm 42. And he kind of related to the psalmist, where the psalmist is actually asking questions like, "Where are you, God? Are you God? Are you even there, God?" And so that, obviously, with him and his life at that point in time, he related to it. And it still relates today. If you're anything like me, you tend to think that like the things that you feel and the things that you're experiencing are just only experienced by you and you alone. Nobody else in any point in time in the history of the world have experienced these things. But Nate did a great job yesterday giving us an Old Testament example as to how it's relatable to today. And so the Bible is filled nonstop with examples of people that have experienced the things that I feel, and Josiah is trying to serenade you, perfect timing, where there are examples all throughout the Bible that people experience the same things William experienced and the same things that I experienced, where there was hopelessness, there was doubt, there was fear, there was anxiety, there was all these things that I guess we tend to think are only today experiences and things we're aware of today, but they've been existent since the beginning of time, since sin has entered the world. But the common theme here is that there is one hope, there is one cure, and sometimes all you have to do is look up. And that is the fountain that gives us everlasting life, the fountain that gives us everlasting hope. Church, we love you. If anything that you need to do or anything that you need encouragement from today, sometimes we just need to look up. Amen. We love you. Josiah's somewhere. I'm sure he loves you too. Have a great week.